Functions f and g can be combined using arithmetic operations. When combining f and g, the domains of both f and g must be satisfied independently. Example A. Given f of x equals x squared and g of x equals 1 over x, let h be a function defined by h of x equals 2 times f times g of x. Write a rule for h that does not include the notation f and g. Determine the domain of the function h. Alright, so h of x equals 2 times f of x times g of x. So that equals 2 times f of x, which is x squared, times g of x, which is 1 over x. So that gives us 2x squared over x. So then we can cancel out one of the x's on top and the x on bottom, and we get 2x. On the next slide, we'll solve for domain. Now, continuing where we left off, the rule would be 2x, but x cannot equal 0. And that's because of this function here. G of x has a domain that does not include 0, because you cannot divide 1 by 0. So here is what our graph is going to look like. A line, but with a little empty circle here at 0, since the domain cannot include 0. The domain of f is all real numbers, but the domain of g is all real numbers not including 0, minus 0. Therefore, the domain of h is going to be all real numbers, but minus 0. Example B. The functions f and g are shown below. What is the domain of f plus g of x? Alright, well, the domain of f is all the numbers between -3 and 2, including -3 and 2. And the domain of g is numbers between -1 and 2, including -1 and 2. So on the next slide, we'll show what the domain of f plus g of x is. Alright, so the domain of f was -3 to 2. The domain of g was -1 to 2. Therefore, the domain of f plus g is -1 to 2. The domain of f plus g must satisfy the restrictions of both f and g. Since the numbers from -3 to -1 aren't in the domain of g, they cannot be in the domain of f plus g. So we take the smallest amount of the overlapping domain, which is from here to here, and that is our new domain of f plus g. If a is in the domain of functions f and g, then a is in the domain of f plus g. Furthermore, it follows that the graph of f plus g contains the point a, f of a plus g of a. Example C. The graphs of f and g are shown below. Complete the table and sketch the graph of f of x plus g of x. Alright, so when x is -2, f of x is up here at 4, g of x is down here at -1. So 4 plus -1 gives us 3. So the point will be right there, -2, 3. Here, 1 plus -1 is 0, so the point is -1, 0. Here we have 0 plus 1, so the point is 0, 1. All right, here we have 1 plus 1, which is 2, so 1, 2. And then 1 plus 4 is 5, 2, 5. It's just like that. On the next slide, we'll draw it out. All right, and here in purple, we have the graph of f plus g.